Okay. Yechave daat, sixth book, Siman Nun Het, 58. It's a very small one. It's one page only. Question is as follows. mezuzah she'en kol efsharut lekob'a bepetach al yedei masmarim. I have a mezuzah and I can't nail it to the door. Either the door is metal or the door is stone, it's not wood, or my mezuzah, I don't want to break the case. I can't nail the mezuzah. The doorway is metal. Can I use strong glue to connect the mezuzah to my doorpost, or do I have to use nails? The Rambam writes, Golel ha-mezuzah, you roll the mezuzah, misof hashita letechilata, from the end of the mezuzah to the front, so the front is where it's rolled to. Umaniha b'shehoferet shel kaneh or es, you put it inside a tube or a case like we have. Umechaber ota and mezuzah tepetach b'masmar. Masmar or masmer? Masmer, with the nail. The Rambam says you attach it to your doorpost with the nails. Option 2, says the Rambam, or you hollow in, like my brother has this in his house. You hollow into the doorway, a hollow hole, and you put the mezuzah resting so it's flush. So 2 ways. The Rambam says 2 ways to put the mezuzah. That we just did now in the shul. Yeah, you can. So we just the halakha in shul is you can have mezuzah like a plaque. It doesn't have to be rolled up. It could be like a plaque. And you nail that plaque into the wall. So Rambam gives 2 options of how you hang mezuzah. Either you, like we do, you roll it in a roll, put it in a tube, and nail it in. He says with nails. Rambam says with nails. And option 2, instead, you dig a hole into the doorway, rest the mezuzah inside, and now it's flush with the door. So, like my brother's house, he's in construction, so he's got to have all the latest and greatest things. There's no bump on the door. It's all flush. Mezuzah's flush. Yeah. Yeah. So these are the only 2 options that Rambam writes. Rambam doesn't say you can use glue or tape. What do they do in Jerusalem? They put holes in it. It's in the stone. It's in the stone. Yeah. So the question is, that's okay because Rambam says you could do that. The question is, what about glue? Shulchan Aruch writes the same thing. The source for this is a Tosefta Kelim. It says as follows: if you put a tube, you put mezuzah in a tube and you hang it on the wall. Our Gemarat Bavli, Talmud Bavli B'Metziah, page 102 says, you can put it inside of a reed. Rashi says over there, Rashi says, what if the doorway is made of stone? So you can't nail into stone. En tarich linkov lo sadek or sedek. You don't have to make a hole, engrave a hollow hole into the wall. Ela efshar, listen to this Rashi. Ela efshar la'aniha betoch shefoferet. You could put it inside of a tube, shel kaneh, uletalota, and hang it, says Rashi. You could hang the mezuzah. Imagine a mezuzah hanging by the doorway, but it's not as it seems. It says, you have to put it inside of the tube and affix it to the wall. But if you just hang it, and it's like hanging from a chain without attaching it, affixing it to the doorway, it's not kosher. So in other words, when Rashi says you hang it, that's very nice that it's hung, but it can't be like a swinging mezuzah. That's not kosher. It could be hung, but then it has to have an affixation to the wall. Like we say in the Gemara, now, the Gaon, if you hung it, it's not good. You can't just hang a mezuzah. It has to be on the post. The Bayit Hadash, the Bach writes, this that the poskim write that you have to attach it with nails. That's only the best mitzvah. The best way to do it is with nails. Why? You want to attach it with nails, it's not going to fall down. And if you don't use nails, use something else, it might fall down and be disgraced while it's on the floor. He brings the words of the Yerushalmi. The Ita Hatam, it says over there. Now the Gemara Yerushalmi sometimes is very hard to read. Gemara Yerushalmi, Talmud Yerushalmi is very, very hard to read. And this Gemara is a great example. The words it says is funny and it's explained. It says in the Gemara Yerushalmi, Rabbi Abba, Beshem Rabbi Yehuda Amar, Va'afilu lo simaro. This is the Yerushalmi. Yerushalmi says, even if you don't nail it into the wall, it's kosher. V'hatane vehu simaro. But we said that you have to nail it into the wall to be kosher. Amar Rabbi Yosef, vehu sheyihadod lachen. That's only if you Yihado, what's the good word in English? You designate it. You designate it onto the wall. Hirush, what does this mean, this Gemara? If you designate and commit this mezuzah to be on this door, you have to use nails, it seems. But if you don't make the mezuzah dedicated and established for this door, it's only temporary. You don't need to put nails. That's what the Bayat Chadash says. Now the Yerushalmi that he's reading, is saying you're reading it the wrong way. You have to read the Yerushalmi the opposite way. If you dedicate this mezuzah and establish it for this door, you don't have to use nails, says the Chacham. That's the right way to read the Yerushalmi. I see in the same book, in this book, She'elat Tavid, he explains it the way I explain the Yerushalmi. And he says you could use either nails or you can use a cement in order to connect the mezuzah to the doorway. No screws. Screws will be like nails. Yeah, same thing. I think it's the same thing. It's just strong, right? Look at the Mahasham where he says the daat harambam, that Shulchan Aruch, even according to the Rambam and Shulchan Aruch, where they say you should use nails to put the mezuzah on the door. If you dedicate this mezuzah and attach it, that it should stay up there forever or for a long time, you don't have to use nails, even according to the Rambam and Shulchan Aruch. The truth is, if you look at the Gemara Menachot, it really seems to tell us that glue or cement or tar, any sticky substance should be fine and you don't have to use nails. What does the Gemara over there say in Menachot? The Gemara says, if not for a gezerah shava, which means a gezerah shava is a way that we learn a law. The Gemara Menachot says basically, the pasuk says you should write the mezuzah on your walls and on your gates. So says the Gemara, well, it doesn't say that put it on a scroll. Where does it say in the pasuk put it on a scroll? It doesn't say uchtavtam al sefer. It doesn't say that. It says uchtavtam al mezuzah, which means take a chisel and engrave it onto the wall, or take a pen and write it on the wall. Yeah. Velcro, good question. So Velcro is also, it's not nails, it's strong, it's like glue. Good question. The Gemara Menachot, double-sided tape also, which is less strong, I think, than Velcro. The Gemara Menachot says, why mezuzah do we roll in a scroll? Why don't we just write it on the wall, like it says in the pasuk, write it on the walls? And the answer is because we have a gezerah shava, which means we learn the halakha from another thing. What do we learn it from? When it comes to divorce, you have to write that on a scroll, on a parchment. And it says when you write on a parchment. So also, when it says uchtavtam, when you write the mezuzah, must be also on a parchment. When the Torah says write, it means on a parchment. That's how we know. It's amazing. That's how we know that a mezuzah goes on a scroll, because a divorce contract goes on a scroll. And so the question is, the Gemara says, it says, the Gemara says, maybe I would have thought that I can just write the mezuzah on a stone, on a rock, and put the rock on the wall. And so says the Chavadia, what was the Gemara thinking? How are you attaching the rock to the wall? You're going to nail the rock into the wall, the rock's going to smash into pieces. Must be you're going to use a sticky substance to stick to the rock to the wall. So the fact that Gemara asked this question shows that sticking with a glue will be okay. You understand what he's saying? Since we learned this, even if you put your mezuzah on a metal doorway with glue, shapir dami, it should be kosher. V'yomar ladevek tovu. 10 points, if anyone knows where this pasuk is from. V'yomar ladevek tovu. Tell the glue that it's good. Very good, Yari. This is yesterday's haftarah. And when I started this halakha, I decided to do this. I didn't realize he would bring a proof at the end from yesterday's haftarah. Yesterday's haftarah is talking about Abraham Avinu. And now Abraham Avinu is smashed all the idols. And the pasuk says, the plower and the person who's chiseling is going to say good job. And the person that's connecting things, ladevek tovhu, it's good. What does this mean? And so Rashi says, Abraham Avinu is basically bringing everyone close to Hashem. All the people is being connected to Hashem. Tofu, it's good. All the other mifashim basically all say it's talking about the idol worshippers. When the people are making idols, they say, "Oh, good job, glue it on better." So he didn't even bring a source. You have to know that he's bringing a pasuk if you're in that lingo world. And so it says in the pasuk that devik is tofu, that glue is good. We see a lot of times that glue is a kosher connection. Okay. The thing is that Hagaon Rabbi Epstein in the Sefer Aruch HaShulchan, in the Sefer Aruch HaShulchan, Ashkenaz Sefer, he writes, the mistabra. It makes sense. If you roll the mezuzah parchment, and you connect it with glue, to the corner of the doorpost of the house, the shapir dami, it should be kosher. What do I care if I use nails or I use glue? As long as it becomes a strong connection, it's kosher. So yes, the Rambam and Maran Shulchan say the word nails. It doesn't have to be nails. It could be anything. The Sefer Chalkat Yaakov agrees, and the Sefer Mishud Minhat Yishak also says the same thing. Same halakha that glue works. That's the halakha l'ma'aseh. If someone out there tells you that you have to use nails because Ruchayaruk says use nails, you tell them no, glue is also kosher, Velcro is also kosher. Anything that connects a good connection would be kosher for mezuzah. That's a very fast halakha for today. And now we'll get to the next shiur, if I can get this. Yeah, if it's metal, right? Let me get this thing ending.